looking at your background, you've got no actors or anything in your family, have you?
No, it's been a complete work in progress and sort of trial and error scenario.
Well, you've got no sort of formal training either, have you?
No, my plan was when I decided I wanted to go into this profession, my plan was to sort of go to Lambda or RADA, or at least to try and get into those drama schools. But they like you to have seen life. So at 16, I decided to go to art college, and then the plan was to do art college and then later on enrol. But it just never happened because I was learning so much on the job. I'd been doing it from the age of 11, and all the actors I worked with, some had been, some hadn't, and the ones who hadn't said, you don't need to go, you're learning, you're working, and the ones that had, it was one of those situations where it just never happened, but it was always my vision. But I have my own way of, I've had my own training, and I've done all my Lambda exams and things.
So you wanted to be an actress from quite early age?
I guess it was always a bit of a hobby at the beginning, and it was sort of accidentally fell into it, and it wasn't until I wasn't sure. I think it's a little bit of an odd industry to think that you can earn a living from, and I wasn't sure if it was possible, to be honest. So it was always there, and it wasn't until I ended up enrolling in art college, and then I kept getting jobs, that I thought, you know what, I'm going to take it seriously and give this a go.
And you and your sister both became successful actresses?
Well, we touch the wood, we work, and it's odd because we're very different, but somehow we always enjoyed the same hobbies and pastimes.
Now, you're dyslexic, aren't you?
Yes.
And an enormous number of actors are dyslexic, which is strange because it's a profession that depends entirely on words, isn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't assume that it would be the natural progression for a dyslexic to want to venture into that sort of life, but I think a lot of dyslexics are quite creative, and in a way, although I struggled at school, literature was one of my favourite subjects. I loved storytelling and I loved public speaking, and I guess it was a natural progression from there.
Does it make it more difficult for you, though, to things like learning lines?
I think you don't realise that you find it difficult because you all do things in your own way, and it wasn't until I looked into it that I suppose it does take me a little longer than it would normally for people, but you just find your ways of doing things, and I have my techniques. I have special dyslexic, they're tinted lens glasses, and they help me a lot, and so it's never really caused me a problem.
Now, people know you probably best from things like EastEnders and so on, but you've had a very successful West End career, haven't you?
Well, I feel like I've been very fortunate, because I think if you go into this profession, being in the West End is probably the ultimate goal. So to have been able to do that a few times has been really incredible.
But you didn't just get that. I mean, you got rave reviews when you were there, didn't you?
Apparently. I don't know what. It was very, very great. It was good to hear those.
Liza in Pygmalion, you got good reviews.
I did.
And then you've done a couple of Acheborns.
A couple of Acheborns, and I love Acheborn. I've heard he's like Marmite for people, but he's definitely my sort of Marmite. It's such fun, and I've been able to play a few really great parts, so I've been really lucky.
Very difficult to learn, isn't it? Because it's not quite how people speak.
No, it's a really odd way of writing, but he's definitely got this style. And usually it's the comedy comes from quite traumatic sort of storylines, but they're so funny. And once you nail them, they're just extremely enjoyable to do every night.
And what about Gaslight? I mean, this is going back to 1938, isn't it?
Yeah, Patrick Hamilton wrote it in 1938, set in 1880 in London, and we're looking at a couple. It's a fantastically textured female lead role, this. I'm really excited because it's a little bit different. It's dark, it's a psychological thriller, it's not your normal whodunit, and it's gripping. but we look at a couple who have been together for 7 years, and she's the victim of her husband slowly but surely manipulating her mentally, and she believes she's going mad, and it's an extreme case of gaslighting, but the term gaslighting originates from this play. So yeah, it will be really interesting to look into.
So it's a bit of a scary play.
Yeah. And I've said in the past that I ordinarily, as a theatre goer, really enjoy watching I enjoy comedy and things that are going to leave me feeling good, but whenever I see a straight, serious piece of theatre, it always stays with me. If it's good, it stays with you, and hopefully I think thrillers are coming into their own a little bit. We're finding that it's a little bit of a fashion. Hopefully that people want to be frightened, and hopefully they'll come away thinking something, because although it's a period piece, we want to make it kind of relevant and modern in its sort of tone. So hopefully people will relate to it in some way.
So it's a sort of Victorian melodrama for today.
You've nailed it. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks very much
Thank
indeed.
you so much.
That's fine.